Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB games scheduled for Monday, September 11th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my $19 rundown best bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Monday in Major League Baseball. First up, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Dakota Hudson and Dean Kramer are your projected starters. Dean Kramer's been one of the more profitable starting pitchers in the league this season. Dakota Hudson's got an ERA of 4.43, and the expected numbers aren't great either. To me, the Orioles are just the better team right now. You know, you're laying a decent price here, minus 165, minus 170 on that money line. But for me, that's the only way to go in this ball game. You know, the Orioles are 16 games above 500 at home this season. The Cardinals 8 games below on the road. Baltimore, to me, grabs the W here. So you could lay the 1.5 runs to get a better price, but I'll just take Baltimore on the money line. Next up, the Washington Nationals taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. No official starter for the home team, but we should see Patrick Corbin on the other side for Washington. Yeah, I'm going to take the Pirates in this game, lean towards them. We'll have to see the official starter is for Pittsburgh, but I think the Pirates have the better bullpen in this series. And although the Pirates don't have great numbers against lefties overall this season, their numbers are improving, where they're right around league average in OPS in the last month against lefties. And Patrick Corbin, we know, even though it's been a better year this year than it was in 2022, he still has an ERA above 5 on this season. I don't love his chances in the spot on the road. And we've seen him come off of 2 games against the Blue Jays and Mets, where he gave up 6 earned runs and 8 earned runs in 2 blowout losses for Washington. Give me the Pittsburgh Pirates on the money line. Next up, we see the New York Yankees taking on the Boston Red Sox. Cutter Crawford and Clark Schmidt are your starters. Even though the Yankees won the game on Sunday against Milwaukee in walk-off fashion, they learned really, terrible news, honestly, that Jason Dominguez, one of their top prospects, and he made his Major League debut a couple of weeks ago, he was injured in that game. It looks like he's going to be out for a long time. He tore his UCL in that one. Usually the time frame I've read was about 10 to 12 months for recovery, so just tough to learn. For a Yankees team, it's already having a really disappointing season, and it was a disappointing series against Milwaukee, offensively especially. This team really struggled. They got no hit for 10 innings against Milwaukee on Sunday, and the bullpen was also used a ton on Sunday in the extra inning game, and then on Saturday as well in that 9-2 blowout loss. So the bullpen not in great shape going into this start or into this series. Clark Schmidt, I think, is a good starter on the mound, but I just can't get there with the Yankees with their struggles against righties, their bullpen unavailability. Give me the Boston Red Sox on the money line. Next up, the Texas Rangers taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Dane Dunning and Chris Bassett are your projected starters. Got to take the Blue Jays in this game. Chris Bassett's been really sharp at Rogers Center this season. On the road, he's got an ERA of 4.64, but at home at Rogers Center, 7-3 record in 90 innings of work, 85 strikeouts, not too shabby, a very low 185 opponent's batting average, and a 2.8 ERA. Dane Dunning on the other side for Texas has struggled as of late, giving up 3 or more runs in each of his last 4 starts, including his last game against the Astros, where he gave up 9 earned runs and 3 home runs in that 14-1 Rangers loss. The Rangers have lost each of his last 5 starts. His control's been off. Give me the Blue Jays on the money line. Next up, the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the New York Mets. Zach Davies and Jose Quintana are your starters. The Arizona Diamondbacks won a really important series this weekend at Wrigley Field, but I don't love their chances in this first game, at least, against the Mets, as I do think the Mets have a pretty lopsided pitching advantage in the starting pitching matchup. Zach Davies has struggled on the road this season. He's struggled in general with an ERA above 6 and an ERA on the road above 8. And Jose Quintana has been one of the better starting pitchers in its Mets rotation. A 3 ERA thus far, even despite that 2-5 losing record. He's been really sharp himself, especially his last 2 games against the Rangers and Nationals. 13 innings combined of 1-run baseball. He keeps the ball on the ground. I think he pitches well here. Give me the New York Mets on the money line. Next up, we see the Kansas City Royals taking on the Chicago White Sox. Brady Singer and Dylan Cease are the listed starters for now, but there's no official lineup for this game, so we could see a pitching change. Now, we saw the same pitching matchup last week. It was a high-scoring game. It was an exciting game. The White Sox, I believe, had a 6-0 lead in that game, and Kansas City scored 7 unanswered to earn the win in walk-off fashion. It was actually a balk-off in the 9th inning, and Kansas City, they didn't give up, and this is an offense that's been solid in the second half of the season, especially against righties. Dylan Cease has not had a very good second half of the year, especially as of late. He's given up 4 or more earned runs and 3 home runs against Kansas City last week. Brady Singer also gave up 3 home runs to Chicago. He has struggled as of late as well. So you got 2 starting pitchers that aren't in the best of form, facing the same lineup they just faced last week. And, Royals team, like I mentioned, is improving against righties as the season went along. Two bullpens that we know have not been trustworthy this year. For me, got to lean towards the over in Kansas City, Chicago. Next up, the Miami Marlins taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Jesus Luzardo and Brandon Woodruff are your projected starters. The Brewers have hit lefties pretty well in second half of the season. In the last month, they're top 10 in baseball in team OPS, top 15 in isolated power with a very low strikeout rate at 18.3% and a decent walk rate at 8.3%. Luzardo has not been great on the road this season. He's been a lot better at Lone Depot Park. Woodruff is a really good option on the mound for Milwaukee to start this game. I like the Brewers on the money line at American Family Field. Next up, we see the Tampa Bay Rays taking on the Minnesota Twins. Tyler Glasnow and Sonny Gray are your starters. Two really solid starting pitching options in this game. It's why we see a pretty low total. I would lean towards the under in this one, but I also think the Rays take the game in the end. I just think they have the better bullpen and the better lineup in this one. And Sonny Gray, I've talked about a lot since the beginning of May. He hasn't been a very profitable pitcher in terms of the win-loss record that the Twins have in his starts on the money line, especially, even though he's got great numbers, a sub-3 ERA, Gray's only 7-6 himself, and the Twins, since May, have a losing record on the money line in this game. So give me the Tampa Bay Rays and the under in this one. Next up, the Oakland A's taking on the Houston Astros. Mason Miller and Framber Valdez are your projected starters. And the Astros are huge favorites in this game, and I just can't get there with Houston at this kind of price at minus 300 plus. To me, the value lies with the underdog. You can take them on the money line for the big payout, or take 1.5 runs or even 2.5 runs for decent prices as well. But Mason Miller's been solid so far in a small sample size, granted, but 23 1/3 innings, 25 strikeouts, only one home run given up, and a 3.09 ERA. Framber Valdez has been solid in the last month or so, but we got to remember he's been pretty inconsistent as well. I mean, the Guardians, he threw a no-hitter against the Guardians, almost threw another one against the Tigers, but in the mix of that, and then during those starts, or in the middle of those starts, 6 earned runs against the Orioles, 6 earned runs against the Mariners, 5 walks against the Tigers, 4 walks against the Rangers. So the control's been off a bit. He's kind of just been all over the place. And for me, I wouldn't want to lay this kind of price with Framber right now, at least. So give me the Oakland A's plus the 2.5 runs on the road. Next up, we see the Chicago Cubs taking on the Colorado Rockies. Jordan Wicks and Kyle Freeland are your starters. I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs here. I trust their lineup and bullpen a lot more. I also think they have the starting pitching advantage with Jordan Wicks, who's pitching really, it's going to be his first start at Coors Field. That would be the one big concern you have is, a young starting pitcher going to Coors, but 2.16 ERA for him so far in 16 2/3 innings. He's facing a Rockies team that played on Sunday Night Baseball in San Francisco, has to travel to Colorado. We know those teams traveling on Sunday night after Sunday Night Baseball have not done too well in the last couple of seasons. Don't really love Kyle Freeland in this matchup against the Cubs team. It's improving against lefties. Give me the Chicago Cubs on the run line here. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Angels taking on the Seattle Mariners. Reed Detmers and Logan Gilbert are your starters. I think the Angels really struggle to score in this matchup. Logan Gilbert, a strong starting pitching option for Seattle in this one. 13-5 record with a 3.61 ERA. His last start wasn't the best against the Reds, but it was good enough for a win for Seattle, and that was at Great American Ballpark, one of the more hitter-friendly ballparks in the league. Before that, against the Mets and Royals, he went 13 2/3 combined of 2-run baseball with 16 strikeouts, so he's missing a lot of bats right now. He's pitching some of his best baseball of the year, and we know he had a sub-3 ERA in the month of August. The Angels' offense has not done too well as of late. We know they lost a lot of guys to either injury or they put them on waivers in the last couple of weeks or so. And we saw him win a very close, low-scoring game against the Guardians last night or on Sunday afternoon, 2-1. I don't think their offense does much. I think the Mariners get to Reed Detmers, so give me the Mariners on the run line. I'm going to take the team total under for Los Angeles as well. Next up, we see the Cleveland Guardians taking on the San Francisco Giants. Gavin Williams and Alex Cobb are the projected starters for now, but there is no official lineup for this game, so we could see a pitching change. I like the under in this game. Gavin Williams had a nice bounce-back start in his last game against a tough Twins lineup. 5 innings of 1-run ball with 4 strikeouts. He's facing a Giants team that played on Sunday Night Baseball, and we know has not been great against righties in the second half of the season or in the last 30 days. Alex Cobb's been strong at Oracle Park this year. Far better at home than he is on the road. And I think the Guardians, even though they're a solid lineup in terms of limiting strikeouts against righties, I could see him struggling against Alex Cobb in this ball game. He's got a 2.09 ERA at Oracle Park this season. Give me the under in Cleveland, San Francisco. And the final game for Monday's card of Major League Baseball, the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Pedro Avila and Gavin Stone are your projected starters. I think the Dodgers get to Avila in this one. He gave up 6 walks his last start against the Phillies. Only 1 strikeout in that game. He's kind of an inconsistent numbers as of late. And Gavin Stone, an ERA above 10 so far. It's a small sample size at 18 innings of work, but 10 strikeouts only with 8 walks given up and 4 home runs to go with it. Don't really trust either of these starting pitching options. I think we see a high-scoring game and potentially a high-scoring series. So give me the over in Game 1. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.